LSU is signing a tight end that went through a training camp. I don't even know if he played in the preseason game or not. Maybe he did. But we're talking about guys who have not suited up in a regular season game.
Welcome into the Senior Bowl show. I'm Nick Wiggins, and I'm joined, as always, by our executive director, Drew Fabianich. If you're watching on video, you can see the LSU helmet in front of me, and that's to preview our guest for this week, and that's the one and only Anthony Booger McFarland. We inducted him this year into our Senior Bowl Hall of Fame, and we are really, really excited to have him join us on the show.
I'll thrill to death to have Booger. We've got some common folks that we actually worked together with. Well, he actually had, coached him with Tampa Bay with Monty Kiffin and Rod Marinelli when I was with the Cowboys. I got to know both of them quite well, and Rod's still a close friend, and Booger, still talks to him with great reverence because he's one of the greatest defensive line coaches in the history of NFL.
Nice. Now, before we get to our guest and our interview coming up, I do want to kind of give you guys like a little preview into what you can expect here in the Senior Bowl show during football season. So we have week 0 coming up, and this first very brief segment in every episode starting next week, we're going to do a brief breakdown on our offensive player of the week, our defensive player of the week, and our stock up player of the week. Offense and defensive player of the week, those kind of are self-explanatory, but Drew, kind of briefly explain what is the stock up player of the week and what's it going to take to kind of get that award?
It's got to be somebody that's going to be really productive during that week and really perform well. They may have been part of the 300. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. Because like we talked about with the 300, you can play your way into an invite for this game. You can also play your way into, getting people's attention. And that's really what it is. It's a stock rising, because of how they played.
Yeah. Well, without further ado, let's get to our guest, Booger McFarland. Our guest today is a 1999 Senior Bowl alum and a member of the 2026 Senior Bowl Hall of Fame class. He was a first-team All-American and All-SEC defensive lineman at LSU, and he went on to play nearly a decade in the NFL, winning 2 Super Bowl championships, one with the Bucs and one later in his career with the Colts. Today, he's one of the most recognizable voices in football as an NFL and college football analyst. Welcome to the Senior Bowl show, Mr. Anthony Booger McFarland.
There you go. Great to have you, Boog.
Yeah, glad to be here, man. Thanks for the invite, guys.
Man, really happy to have you. Well, let me ask you first. We just had you down here in Mobile a few months ago. How's it feel to be a member of the Senior Bowl Hall of Fame?
Man, it feels tremendous to be recognized and to be thought of as part of an elite group of people. The Senior Bowl is where I got my start at, and so to be able to be recognized all these years later, man, is truly an honor.
And then with your personal experience in the Senior Bowl, Bug, how do you think that prepared you for, walking into that, situation you were with Monty and Rod and that whole group?
I mean, I think it was the best preparation possible. I'm not sure I was ready for it, but for me, coming down to Mobile, just trying to get an opportunity to show what I could against the best players in the country, and then being able to be coached by Tampa Bay, who had the 15th pick of the draft that year, was just something that like you couldn't have envisioned something playing out that way. Nor could I have that we would have 5 quarterbacks taken early in the first round, which kind of pushed me down. So it's amazing in life how things work out. Like I stopped believing in coincidences a long time ago. And so for me to be there, for Tampa Bay to coach my side, for so many quarterbacks to go so early in the draft, which kind of pushed everybody down, and for me to be chosen by the team that coached me at the Super Bowl was something that I didn't see coming. But, now that I look back on it, I think it was all fate, man.
Do you, I think you told the story about, Rod kind of whispering in your ear a little bit, kind of letting you know where he stood on you. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, he basically said, hey, listen, I don't know what we're going to do, but I don't think you're going to be, I don't think you're going to get past us at 15. Now, we don't know what's going to happen in front of us, but I know we like you. I know you made an impact on us. Because Tony wasn't about, and Tony, I'm speaking of Tony Dungy, he just wasn't about just drafting good players. He wanted to draft people that fit what they did in Tampa. It wasn't the biggest defense. It was fast. It was quick. It was, we're going to be athletic. We're going to run. We're going to get upfield, and we're going to be relentless. And, I kind of fit the mold. And Rod, Rod kind of knew what I needed as a coach. I was used to coaches. I could decipher from the message, from the volume, if you know what I mean, because I've been coached by a lot of guys, and so the volume in which you deliver the message didn't bother me. And so Rod and I got along great, and he kind of let me know, hey, I'm gonna go to bat for you, and ultimately it's not my choice, but you'll have somebody in the room that's speaking for you.
For those who don't know, we're speaking about Rod Marinelli, which is arguably one of the greatest defensive line coaches in NFL history. So that's who we're referencing when we always talk about Rod. I still call him Rod and coach, and I'm still in contact with him. Noah Boog is too. You got another question for him there, Nick?
Yeah, I'm curious, so when you came to the Senior Bowl in 1999, what was it like going into that real pro atmosphere? Nowadays, college football teams, they're kind of run like professional organizations. So I'm curious, was there kind of like not necessarily a shock, but like, wow, I'm here, this is a job interview. What was that kind of like?
Well, there's always going to be an adjustment. Like anytime you go to something that's new, like we were all, everybody down there, we knew our college career was over with. And so to have the opportunity to have 1 week where you can kind of make or break what your, foreseeable future is going to be like, is something we were all excited about. We were all nervous about. We were anxious. If I remember correctly, it was myself, Todd McClure, Kevin Falk came from LSU. And so our senior year didn't go as we wanted, but we got an opportunity to come to Mobile. And so the Mobile was kind of, I wouldn't say like a bowl game, but it was kind of like our reward for, team-wise, we didn't have really good success, but individually, I think we felt good about what our future looked like. And so to come to Mobile and to be thrust in that environment where it is pro scouts and coaches everywhere. What's amazing is I look at it now and I watch the Senior Bowl on television, and you watch all the practices, and it's so many people. I don't remember the coaches and GMs and execs being all over the field, but I'm sure they were. But I just don't remember it. But now, man, it is hundreds of people surrounding every drill, surrounding the one-on-one, surrounding the inside drill, like the run drill, like all those different things that we did. I honestly don't remember that many people being around, but now, everywhere you look, you can't get in a stance before you step on a coach or a GM.
Now, I got to ask, it's the hot topic right now. I have to get your opinion on it, and Drew, I'd love to hear yours as well. We got NFL players coming back to college football. Booger, this is all just going through. I think the Big Ten, they're either about to pass or just did pass, where they're saying no NFL players are allowed on our rosters. I would just like to get your opinion on that. This is an ever-evolving story. Just would love to hear your thoughts.
Well, it's ever-evolving, but it's only going to evolve for like 4 or 5 days, and here's why. So the courts passed the 5-for-5 deal, and there was a court in Louisiana that said, okay, class of 22, since you guys didn't get the ruling in time, if you guys want your 5-for-5, you can get it. So this is never going to happen again. Number one, it's only applying to this year, and it's only applying to right now because school is going to start. Like nobody's going to go from college to pros in October. So this is really only for, as the song would say, a moment in time. That's number one. As far as, guys in the class of 22 who are taking advantage of it, listen, if there are not going to be any rules and regulations, you got to go by the ones they do have. And yep. Rightfully so, the ones they do have is the courts are allowing kids to come back, a select few, and it's only going to last for another day or so because once school, like every school has a cutoff limit by the time you have to enroll. So this is only going to happen, like I said, for a moment in time. I'm fine with it because our leadership in college football has been so behind for years. And, everything we're doing now is reactionary instead of being proactive. So it's fine. It's not like these guys that have played 3 years in the NFL and they've made a Pro Bowl. These are guys who went to a mini camp, like Texas has an offensive lineman that went to a mini camp. LSU is signing a tight end that went through a training camp. I don't even know if he played in the preseason game or not. Maybe he did. But we're talking about guys who have not suited up in a regular season game. And so when you say pro players, let's make sure we identify what we're talking about. That way, sometimes we try to make this thing sound so big. So I get that. But these are guys that have they were in college a couple months ago. And because the court's ruling, they are simply saying you now have your opportunity for 5 for 5. Um, I hear the Big Ten passing the rule, but what the Big Ten is probably not going to tell you is that most of their schools have started already. So even if they wanted to take a guy, they couldn't.
Couldn't get
And
him
so
in.
right now,
Yep.
the Big Ten is just kind of grandstanding, and they can do that. That's fine. Tony Petitti has done a really good job. They've won 3 championships in a row. And, I just find it funny on the heels of, Greg Sankey making his statement late last night, or the SEC, should I say, the Big Ten comes out and grandstands a little bit today. So it's all part of it, man. These are the conversations we've been having since Indiana won the title. But once toe meets leather over in Dublin, Ireland, I think we'll talk more about the game on the field than the game off the field.
Totally agree with Boog. I mean, I think that once Saturday starts rolling around, week 0 gets complete, this all goes away. And like he said, it's only one class. It's only one small group right now. They're not going to do this with, like he said, 4 and 5 year veterans that can go back and play NCAA ball. That's not going to happen. Hey, Boog, just, being a former player, now in the media, how important have you found the Senior Bowl in your draft process and preparing for it, and how important do you think it is for the NFL?
Well, I think it's very beneficial to the NFL. I think that, over the years, it's been known as the Senior Bowl, but I think you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have allowed select juniors to jump in the game a little bit.
Graduated juniors.
Graduated juniors to come in the game. So I think ultimately, man, like it's the best thing going. I think couple things. It is an opportunity to get some really good competition against really good opponents in a finite period of time. And all it does is help the NFL. Like, it really can't hurt the NFL because it's another data point in the scouting process. And so if I go into the Senior Bowl week and I have a certain grade on a certain player, I honestly think the Senior Bowl is really just going to help that player. Let's just say you have a bad week. For whatever reason, you're a highly rated cornerback, you have a bad week. I got to think most smart organizations are going to go back and look at your body of work and not 1 week. Okay, I'm going to go back and look at 12 games, real games, look at 12 games in actual competition and look at your body of work. So I think the Senior Bowl can only help you from a competitive standpoint as long as you go out and put your best foot forward. I think most executives understand that it's an opportunity to look and be up close and touch and feel, and you get true heights and true weights. It's the first time because the combine is after the Senior Bowl, so it's the first time you get the true measurements, the true conversations. I think the Senior Bowl is the biggest benefit. Now, here's the key to the whole Senior Bowl. I think you have to figure out a way, and I think I've told you this before, Drew. You got to figure out a way. How do you continue to get the best competition and the best players to continue to show up, and not only show up but stay the entire week? I think that's kind of the catch-22 that you're going to be in. But from a reputation standpoint, I think everybody in college football knows that the place to be is Mobile, Alabama. And I think the more you can make it player friendly, the more you can. And I get it. The teams are the ones that you're interviewing for, but I think the entire week needs to be player friendly, where the players are catered to so they can show off their talent. And it kind of goes against kind of what you're thinking, because this is a function where the NFL, you want to put something on display for the NFL. But I think the more player friendly you make it, the more players are going to come and show up, and it's just going to make the game better, and it's going to make the things better for the city of Mobile.
Yeah, and I think I tried to do a little bit of that. I told you some of the things I changed, like the schedule and give them some of the evenings and that type of thing. And as far as like incentivizing them, the huge increases from where they were projected to where they ended up going. I think we highlighted a lot of that, and discussed that with many agents and many players because you brought up one when you were down here. I mean, Caleb Banks was a high 3. And ends up going, 18th.
Your first defensive tackle taken.
Yeah. And that was $13 million difference on a 4-year contract. That's the incentive I can offer them. And like you said, to make it more player friendly and make it more rewarding for them.
Like, the atmosphere, like if you look at some of the training camps now, like when these players have training camps and practice is over, people get to come on the field, like just simple thing, like like the food situation after the game, man. Like I would have, and you may already have this, so you just tell me. Like I like to brainstorm like this, man. I'd have food trucks lined up, man. I'd cater to the players. Like we'd have the best food, the best things, the players line, like all the things that just make the week just so player and user friendly.
Yeah.
Where like you just want to come, because sometimes people think incentivized doesn't always mean money.
Correct.
Incentivized just means, you know what? How can I come and spend a week and make it worth my while and enjoy it and things of that nature. I think that's where you continue to build and continue to grow because, again, it's been a long time and it's still, I think, it's still the game of notoriety for the
Yeah.
NFL.
The one thing I think that was kind of amazing last year, we had that ice storm, so we have to bring everyone in like 3 days early.
Yeah.
And then they still end up, Caleb Banks, Maxie Anacher, Keelan Rutledge, they all end up playing and staying all the way through Saturday. I think it was like 15 degrees
Well, the thing
on
was,
game day.
no, yeah, it was cold on game day. The week was not bad. But here's the thing, Boog. I mean, this was the lowest drop rate in the last 4 years,
Yeah.
since the NIL piece, hit. We did some things like, you and I talked about, we gave them custom Travis Scotts, for the ones that played in the game. I mean,
Yeah.
little things like that,
Correct.
kind of mean a lot,
Mhm.
The NFLPA lounge is stepped up big time. I mean, you ought to come down. I mean, just for at least a couple of days if you can.
I will.
Because it has changed and the field is not as packed as, you would think, because it's only our broadcast partners that I let on the field now. I don't let every agent down there. I don't let every podcast down there. I mean, I got to be really selective because it's about protection of the players too.
Correct. Yeah.
Because again, I want their safety, and hey, if you don't mind, I mean, just how you talked about even Caleb Banks, or when you were looking through the process, I mean, what parts did you see that put us above and beyond of
Well,
last year?
I think when you look at the game in general, it's kind of like when you go to, if you're looking and you come to a town, you're like, okay, which mall am I going to go to? And every town has the mall. Like that's where all the nice stores are. That's where everybody goes to hang out. Like every town has the mall. And then you have a couple more different outlets that you may go to. I think the Senior Bowl is the mall where you can get everything you want. Like you can go to this game and every team's going to be there. A lot of college coaches come, a lot of pro coaches, all the GMs, the scouting, like all the assistant GMs. So it's really a one-stop shop. And it's invitation only. And to me, that's the thing about it that makes it so special is you just can't volunteer to show up. This is an invitation only process, which makes it special. And I think for me, I went there thinking I had something to prove, which I did. We were 3-8 my senior year, and we didn't win a lot of games. And if I was such a good player, how come we didn't win a lot of games? And so I needed to go, and in my mind, I needed to go improve what type of player I was. And you look at a guy like Caleb Banks, coming off an injury-plagued season. People doubted him. He's rarely do you see guys who are 6'5" and 320 that move like that. Like to me, he's the second coming of Chris Jones. But we haven't seen a lot of him. And so for him to come down there and put on the display, no doubt in my mind, because I talked to the people up in Minnesota, that was a catalyst for him going where he went with Minnesota, because you just don't find guys moving like that. And on top of that, to show that he was healthy that late in the process. As far as, because I get the senior year, I get his last year, it may not have been whatever, but the fact that now the season is over and we're in the evaluating process and he's still showing up and he's showing that he's healthy and showing that he can still dominate. So it is a proving ground. And I get it. There's some situations where certain guys aren't going to show up. I think in this game, you got to get the best defensive lineman, the best offensive lineman. You got to get the best receivers, the best corners. And then, it always helps when you got the quarterbacks. And, this year, I think of, everyone's saying how good the class is going to be. And I think rightfully so, it's going to be really good. I think you're going to have an opportunity to have your best quarterback class yet. Because even if you don't get, and I'm just spitballing that Arch comes out, even if you don't get Arch, maybe you get Dante. Maybe you get some of these guys that you have an opportunity to get. It's so many of them. How do you separate yourself? Well, some of them are going to have to go prove it. And I think the place you're going to prove it is at the Senior Bowl. And so hopefully you guys are being proactive when it comes to that, because you guys need to capitalize on this class, because there's 10 or 15 guys that need an opportunity. and should have an opportunity to be in Mobile. Starting with the guy that's just, quote unquote suspended in Brendan Sorsby. If I'm Sorsby or his agent, and I get an invitation, I send it back the very next day, because you ain't played football in a year and you want to be one of the top guys. Man, I'd move to Mobile and start training right now.
Yeah. Well, there's a good quarterback camp out here that he could work out at. Right?
Yeah, we got quarterback country. Some of the quarterbacks are going to be down here as soon as the season's over with.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Bug, I mean, on the 300 list, there was 25 quarterbacks on there.
Yeah.
That we deemed draftable. So, it's going to be tough for me to get, like you said, choose 8 and choose wisely, and make sure that, it means a lot to them. And like you said, some guys are going to decide not to. But when you look at just even the first round money changes, if you went from 12 to 7, that's about $9.5 million of difference in a 4-year contract.
No question.
So why would you not do that? Why would you not? And I wish you would have been down here for Ozzie Newsome when he spoke to our MPAP organization with the high school kids. He said one major piece that they look for in every single player with the Ravens is, will they compete? That's bottom line. He said they're always looking for competitors. If they weren't a competitor, they didn't want them, And that's what we want down here, too. I want guys that are going to come down here for the whole week and finish it.
There's a video of Dan Campbell, coach of the Lions, and he says, someone asked him a question. What's the difference between a good player, a great player, and an elite player? And he simply says it's mindset. Mm-hmm. He said everybody on our level's got talent. He said you wouldn't be in this league if you didn't have talent. So what's the difference between good, great, and elite? He said it's the mindset. The elite player he leaves no stone unturned, and there's nothing too small. The walkthrough is not too small. The treatment is not too small. The lifting session is not too small. How you drive to work is not too small. How you handle yourself like all the little things are not too small. And to your point of what Ozzie said, I think if you cut a video with the decision makers, the people we know that make the decisions, GMs, head coaches, Agreed. And just, hey, here's what we look for. You want to play for us? We're looking for guys that compete. And the guys that compete show up in Mobile. And when we get an opportunity to see somebody up close and personal versus someone who we haven't seen, we're going to go with the guy we've seen up close and personal. I think that's something that hopefully the NFL decision makers would do for you. But I think that would speak volumes for you as you continue to grow this game and try to continue to get the elite talent across the country to come to Mobile.
No, don't disagree with you at all, Boog. And we got tons of quotes from GMs, and even Brad Holmes had a great one, following the game, that we used. I mean, and you're right. It needs to be kind of a one-stop shop too for that. We need to put it out there and show them how important this is.
It needs to be video too. Quotes are great. Quotes are great. Video, seeing things, especially in our, which is why we're recording this podcast using video.
Right.
Video has changed how we take things in, and so it does need to have a video component.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Booger, before we let you go, I'm curious. You've been watching some of this preseason football action. Are there any people or any players from this past Senior Bowl class that have kind of showed out in preseason, or even just you think are perfect fits with the team that they ended up on?
Well, you start with the linebacker Jacob Rodriguez. I think he was going to always be a very underrated guy. Just seeing him down there, seeing how he played, seeing how he reacted. He was the guy that kind of for me that stood out because it's a perfect scenario. Ton of plays in college. I really don't know what type of athlete he is or what type of competition he's played against. And so now you come to Mobile with the best of the best and you put him in there and you say, okay, let's go compete. And so now you get a visual of what you saw, but you see it against better competition. And so I've enjoyed watching guys of that nature, man. A lot of these guys are competing. A lot of these guys have an opportunity to get out and make some plays. It's been really cool. Some of the guys actually trained down in Tampa. My buddy Yo Murphy has a facility, so I got a chance to see some of those guys. up close and personal down there training. So it's been really cool just to see the transformation from I covered them in college to see them start training, go to the Senior Bowl, to do their thing, get drafted, and sort of follow the process. And as we always say, the process is just getting started.
That's right.
Yeah,
Well,
it just did get started. I mean, for now, well, I mean, for the season, but as soon as 2 weeks after, we stripped the board and started this whole thing again. And that's when we put the 300 out last week, and then we'll bring it back down to 135, at the end of Thanksgiving. So
Now,
it's a year-round machine.
Do you make that 300 public, or is that just internal?
yes, that's public. That's we posted that on the website. It's on X. It's all by school or by position, however you want it broken down.
Okay.
It's already out there. Last Thursday it launched, and we actually had Crane and Cone on last week, and we actually broke down probably about 15, 20 players on last week's podcast.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, please do. And thank you, Boog. Really appreciate you, man. If there's anything I can do, if there's anything I ever do, just let me know. Seriously. Okay.
Anytime, man. Same here, man. I'm, the Senior Bowl is always going to be special to me. Coming off of the year we had in 1998 to come to the Senior Bowl, and for me to be a captain, and then so many years later, being a Senior Bowl Hall of Fame, it's something I don't take lightly. It's something I always, even now, in the last couple of months, I've had people start conversations with that. So it's just amazing the reach and the power, and just for me what it means to me. Because everything has a foundation, has a start, and LSU and the Senior Bowl kind of launched this whole thing in Tampa. First time I ever met Rod Marinelli, and he's still a dear friend. 26 years later, and so anything I can ever do for you guys, man, always just reach out, let me know.
Really appreciative of Booger McFarland joining us on this week's episode. And remember, next week, we're going to have our offense and defensive player of the week, our stock up player of the week, because football is finally getting played toe to leather, as they call it. Now, when I first heard that saying, and you're going to think, I don't want to hear the nickname you're going to call me, I thought that just meant putting your shoes on. Like the toe touched the leather because you slid your shoes on.
For some reason, I'm not surprised. I won't say it. I will not say it.
Kick a football.
Yes.
We're going to be kicking footballs, people.
That's because the kickoff. Because the kickoff.
That's right. That's right.
Thanks, Booger. I mean, some great insight, great stories. I mean, his reverence for this game is enormous. And I'm so glad that he was part of this. And, please feel free. I mean, thumbs up or thumbs down. We got to know. We'll
see you hopefully soon. Now, next week, we're going to go from talking to a Senior Bowl Hall of Fame member to a Senior Bowl MVP who's currently playing over there for the Las Vegas Raiders, Jack Bech. Really excited to chat with him and kind of pick his brain a little bit before this season gets started. So hope you tune in next week, and we'll talk to you guys then.